and just like that, it works on. I don't know. Goddamn, that's crazy.
Listen, all of you. I am not a racist. I said some things, yeah, I did. That was a very long time ago. But there is a difference. If we want this country to be great again, we've got to start fighting wars we can win and stop fighting against crazy folk who ain't gonna give up. Which is why I want us to think about invading Europe again. Seriously.
How do you mean?
Now, I ain't never been one for book learning, but I'm a big fan of history documentaries. And historical television shows us that America is at its finest when we invade Europe.
What the fuck?
You're right.
Exactly. I mean, we've spent 50 years invading Asia and the Middle East, and it ain't right. Them folks don't want us. They're too different. They eat food that's a bunch of damn paste. So what I'm going to propose as governor of this state is that we plan a massive invasion force and go ahead and
Oh,
invade
this is
France.
supposed to be fucking Gavin or something like that.
Because if there's one country we can beat in a goddamn arm wrestle, it's them limp-wristed, patronizing cheese monkeys. I promise you this. I promise you. If Great Britain wants to stand in our way, we'll invade them too.
Cheese monkeys is crazy. I ain't never heard that term before.
I've seen a lot of movies, and how often is the world threatened by a creepy British guy? It's never an American. Not never. So I'm saying, if we're serious about fighting terror, and I know we are, we go straight to the source and invade Great Britain. Finish off what old George started back in 1770, whatever it was. That's how we're gonna win this war, Bobby June.
Bobby
That's how we
June?
can avenge them American lives by killing every goddamn one of them bastards. Pardon my French, because that's what love is all about.
Honey, they love you, Jock. Bless your heart. Hell, I'll vote for you. You got my vote.
Bobby June, let's talk about this election. It's really up to everybody to get out there and make a difference. You gotta do everything in your power to make sure we win. This is not a socialist country. It's not. This is America. Because our society is our nation. But trust me, this is the most important moment in American history. If we get this wrong, well, we're shit out of luck. Pardon my French.
How so?
Who's that?
My producer, Ricky. Speaking out of turn again. Don't worry. She's just got a tan.
Oh, okay. Had me worried for a moment there. I'll tell you what, because this is it. They are trying to steal our country away. Lawton and all his cronies, all of them cronies in the Capitol. I'm against cronyism, which is why I'm supported by only big American companies who care about things that matter and don't want business bogged down by regulations. Like pension obligations, gone. Environmental concerns, great if we can afford them, but we can't. Gone. Affirmative action? What do you think? Hey, coffee over there, what do you think?
It's Ricky.
Whatever. What do you think about affirmative action? Hey, you ain't a Lebanon, is you? I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it. Some of my best friends was Lebanons, but it's unnatural and a sin. So affirmative action is gone. Having to hire foreigners is gone. Making schools accept minorities is gone. Subsidizing education is gone. Heck, education will be gone. That's why you gotta vote. It's real change. Change we want. Change back. Because I'm all about families. And families need children at home.
Jock, I have to say, I loved your reality show when you were a police officer arresting people. That little boy sure was hollering when you hit him with that nightstick.
These people ask for hope. I give them handcuffs. These are father figure. Father figure that someone gay and sodomizing them with a club.
You're speaking lots of sense, Jock, but all this politics has got me. I really wish it makes me crazy. What you think? Just like that. All right, let's see what we need. Sugar, frosting, a few egg yolks, ice cream, a bit more ice cream, peanut butter,
Peanut butter.
topping, sprinkles, pictures, bacon, my favorite, because he loves us. Full fat milk, heavy cream, cookie dough, and flour. All right, we're gonna throw them all together. Quick whisk.
Quick
I love this already. What are we making?
No, this is it, honey. It's done. After a hard day of couponing, we need simple recipes, and this one is real simple. Ain't that right, girls? I call it sweet and sticky stock car shrimp
Come on, bro. What is this radio show they got going on in the park right
Straight.
now?
It's fantastic.
I know, and it's healthy too. Makes you smile. All right, Ricky, honey, come here. Have a taste. I know it's your favorite.
Come here, Ricky, honey, have a taste.
Figure. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Listen, I got the so-called diabetes. Them doctors said my arteries was like cement. I've had 3 strokes, and I am fine because I don't worry. It's the worry that'll kill you.
Oh my god. I mean, that part's right from Fatsu, but goddamn. How we got there? That's the part that's like, whoa. But Oh hell, motherfucker, no. I'll pay for all this dumb shit. Oh, like here, the game is free, but if you want, actually, I've got a lot of outfits, so I can't say that. Oh hell no! We got the Democrat special. It's pretty sweet. Would I pay real money for it? No. Oh yeah, more of that one. We put face paint on cuz. Of course we have to buy it with real money. Real money. Is there any free one? Oh, they're on for 50. Well, shit, it might as well be 500,000 because we ain't got none. It's the same goddamn difference. Okay. So how do we get this bitch? You go to the play button. That would make sense now, wouldn't it? Jackass. Still haven't raised any. And that's how quick I was interested in some shit. Damn, we already have 36 hours in this game. I'm not doing something. I can go in here. We can get a little zombie real quick. Combine that up with some cheese, hummus, and tortillas.
proudest Buick in the world. I can't make this up.
Yes, you can. They always do.
Stadium music. I'm running the game. Town out. Let's go.
People were watching bombs drop in Iran. They pretty much handed the keys of the entire banking system directly to crypto companies, and I'm going to prove it. Now, the war is real, but in the case of a long-term crypto investor, a lot of the FUD could be just smoke and mirrors, because we have the Office of the Comptroller, the OCC, basically drop a 370-page formal stablecoin regulation, not a proposal, a discussion paper, a rule book, and they're writing the crypto foundation of the U.S. banking system, and nobody's paying attention to what's going on. This gets no mainstream media at all. After dropping that, they literally had 11 companies receive federal banking charters in 83 days. We're talking about Circle, Ripple, BitGo, Paxos, Fidelity, Morgan Stanley. And basically, a federal banking charter means you're a nationally recognized bank. You can operate in all 50 states under one set of rules. Now, that's cool, because obviously having a lawyer for each state is crazy, and trying to run a crypto company, because that's what they used to do, that's great. But what's really crazy is the fact that they have access to the Federal Reserve's payment rails. We have FedWire, the system that moves $5 trillion a day, the same pipes Bank of America and Wells Fargo used to move money. Crypto companies have the keys to the same exact system. And that's not theoretical, that's a fact. And then we had the Kansas City Fed just approved Kraken for a direct Federal Reserve account, a crypto native company born on the internet, now plugged directly into the Federal Reserve. It was so disruptive that we had the American Bankers Association, which is 150 years old, write letters to regulators begging them to slow this down, because they don't see what's happening. They're trying to protect their $500 billion in deposits walking out of the traditional banks and into stablecoins. Now, I think one of the reasons it's happening so fast because all of it feeds into the Genius Act. Every dollar that's created in a stablecoin has to be backed one-to-one with U.S. Treasury. So all of that money actually enters into the system to buy back government debt. So obviously the government really wants this to happen. Tether's already holding, as we know, $141 billion in government bonds. We had Standard Chartered project that it's going to hit $2 trillion by 2028. That's $1 trillion.
Is it wrong to fall in love with a person that doesn't know me? 2 weeks ago.
Yes. No.
In October 2025, Google's most advanced quantum processor, a chip the size of a thumbnail, did something no one anticipated. It sent a signal into the quantum realm and then reversed the process to check for errors. What came back, shockingly, was a pattern. Structured, repeating, growing stronger every single time they tested it. But here is what nobody is saying out loud. That exact behavior, a structured signal, was recorded 126 years ago by Nikola Tesla. He had no quantum computer, just copper coils and a metal tower. And what he detected that night terrified him so deeply that he spent the rest of his life trying to understand it. And what he heard in 1899 may be the same thing Google just heard in 2025. Today, we are going to connect those two moments, because when you place them side by side, the match is specific, and it raises a question that neither century has been able to answer. What exactly is responding? The 2025 anomaly. In October 2025, something happened inside a secure laboratory at Google that shocked every scientist who witnessed it. A quantum chip, Willow performed an action no one believed was possible.
The latest development from Google that it describes as a state-of-the-art quantum computer chip.
The chip acted as if it was listening. It behaved as if something in the dark layers of physical reality had whispered back. The event began with a simple test meant to study how the chip handled errors. Yet it unfolded into one of the most disturbing scientific anomalies ever recorded. The experiment was supposed to be routine. Google's team sent a small burst of microwave energy called a pulse into the quantum realm through the control lines that operate the chip's qubits. The quantum realm is the world of extremely small particles, such as electrons, that behave in ways normal physics cannot easily predict. The team wanted to see how this pulse moved through the chip's 105 qubits. They expected it to fade away, which is what normally happens when quantum information breaks down in a process called decoherence. Instead, something impossible occurred. After sending the pulse, the scientists reversed the entire process. They attempted to run the system backward to check for errors. When they listened for what returned, they did not hear a fading, dying signal. They heard a pattern growing stronger, waves built upon waves in a way that looked like sonar inside a dark and bottomless ocean. The returning signal rose in strength, as if something was feeding energy into it. This made no sense, because in a closed quantum system, a reverse signal should shrink instantly and vanish.
You've got some system that's sort of just out of reach of what a classical computer to do, but a quantum computer can kind of just put you past it.
Then the chip started behaving in a way that had no explanation. It began showing what scientists call non-Markovian behavior. In simple terms, a normal quantum system has no memory. Every state it enters is fresh, with no connection to states it never actually passed through. But Willow started behaving as if it remembered states it had never been in. It was acting on information it had never received. This is not a minor technical quirk. It is the kind of behavior associated with systems that are pulling information from somewhere outside their own history, somewhere they should have no access to. The waveform that returned did not simply grow stronger. It came back with phase alignment, meaning the waves were moving in perfect step with each other, reinforcing instead of canceling. A few researchers suggested internal feedback might be responsible, but the pattern did not match any known behavior of the chip. Some qubits showed activity before the pulse even reached them. This is called retrocausal behavior. To understand why that is frightening, consider what it actually means. In normal physics, a cause always comes before its effect. You fire a signal, then you get a response. But here the response was appearing before the signal arrived. The chip was reacting to something that had not happened yet. Scientists were careful not to claim time was running backward, but they acknowledged openly that this behavior should not exist unless the system was interacting with something that does not follow the normal rules of time.
That's a 1
What
with
does that mean?
25 zeros following it, or a time scale way longer than the age of the universe.
Researchers described the source of the echo as an abyss. That word was chosen carefully. They were not describing empty space. They were describing the state the quantum system enters when it is cooled and isolated to nearly zero entropy. Entropy is essentially the measure of disorder and random activity in a system. At near zero entropy, there is almost no movement, no noise, no thermal interference. It is the closest thing to absolute silence that physics allows. And from that silence,
Finally, a settlement app that doesn't charge a subscription fee to claim money you're owed. Catch matches you with
a structured signal returned. When the team mapped where the echo originated within the chip's mathematical structure, it did not come from inside the system's normal operating space. It appeared to emerge from a boundary at the outer edge of the system's mathematical architecture, as if the pulse had traveled to the limit of what the chip could reach, struck something on the other side, and reflected back, carrying more information than it left with. Some theoretical physicists caution that this boundary may be an internal computational limit rather than evidence of something external. That is a reasonable position, but it does not explain the non-Markovian memory. It does not explain the amplification, and it does not explain the activity that appeared before the pulse was sent. To understand the full weight of what Google found, we need to go back to Colorado Springs in 1899, where the first detection of this phenomenon left the greatest electrical mind in history genuinely terrified.
It always goes back to
Tesla's
Colorado Springs.
1899 encounter. In the summer of 1899, Nikola Tesla stood alone in his remote laboratory in Colorado Springs. The laboratory was filled with strange machines that towered over him. Massive copper coils rose from the floor like rigid serpents. A 200-foot metal tower stabbed the sky outside. Lightning jumped across metal plates with violent cracks. Tesla had built the most sensitive radio receiver on Earth, a machine so powerful it could detect lightning storms more than 1,000 miles away. He understood electricity better than anyone alive at the time. Nothing in that laboratory frightened him. Yet one night, something reached through the silence and shook him to his core. Tesla had been monitoring distant lightning activity, meaning electrical storms taking place hundreds or even thousands of miles away. He was studying how natural electrical events traveled through the Earth's atmosphere and ground. His receiver was sensitive enough to detect the electromagnetic waves these storms produced. While he was tracking these natural signals, a new pattern began to emerge. It was not random static. It was a series of short pulses, spaced with unnatural precision. Tesla heard something that sounded like a counting sequence. One pulse, then a pause, then two pulses, then a pause, then three. It was steady and controlled. It was the kind of structure that comes from intention rather than nature. Tesla's notes describe this moment clearly. He wrote that the observation positively terrified him. This is a disturbing statement from a man who routinely stood inside arcs of electricity carrying millions of volts, allowing them to flash around his body without fear. The voltage looked deadly, but the current was low enough not to harm him. Even so, the visual violence of those displays would frighten most people. Tesla never reacted, yet this signal did. Tesla tried to break the pattern down with logic. He checked solar activity to see if the sun was responsible, but the timing did not match. He then considered auroras, which are natural light displays caused by charged particles from the sun hitting Earth's atmosphere, yet their electromagnetic signatures did not fit the pattern either. He studied Earth currents, the natural electrical flows that move through the ground, but none of these sources matched the clean structure he heard. Tesla's equipment was not like modern radio receivers. It operated in what scientists call the very low frequency range, or VLF. These waves are so long and powerful that they do not travel through the air like a normal radio signal. They travel through the Earth itself, through soil, through rock, through ocean water, and through the layers of the atmosphere above. This is why the military still uses VLF today specifically to communicate with submarines deep underwater. It is the only frequency that can reach that far beneath the surface. Tesla had built a receiver capable of hearing signals moving through the entire electromagnetic body of the planet. What he detected inside those signals had a property called phase coherence. This means the pulses were not arriving randomly. They were arriving in a consistent, stable, repeating rhythm. Natural electromagnetic sources almost never produce this. Random events produce random patterns. Phase coherence is the signature of a controlled, deliberate source. Some historians argue that Tesla's instruments could have produced internal resonances under certain conditions that mimicked this behavior, but no one has reliably demonstrated how that could produce such precise spacing. Tesla found small harmonic overtones layered beneath the main signal. Overtones are secondary frequencies riding underneath a primary signal like a shadow frequency. He could not match them to any known natural source. And in a surviving fragment of his original notebook, he wrote a note directly beside the measurements. He wrote it as a conclusion. He stated that the intervals were too perfect. This was intentional. What makes this darker is what emerged decades later. Classified Navy documents surfaced describing strange VLF anomalies detected during submarine communication tests. Some of those anomalies matched the timing structure Tesla had recorded in 1899. The documents were never officially connected to his work. Defense analysts cautioned that the similarities may simply reflect recurring natural propagation patterns in the VLF band. But the match exists. It has never been fully explained. And it suggests Tesla's receiver may have been the first instrument ever built sensitive enough to intercept a hidden channel that was already there, already active, long before anyone knew to look for it. But if Tesla truly heard something deliberate, how can we know it was not simply a natural phenomenon? The answer appeared almost a century later when two brothers rebuilt Tesla's exact equipment. The 1996 replication. Nearly a century after Tesla's terrifying night in Colorado Springs, two American brothers named Kenneth and James Coram set out to answer the question that had haunted historians for decades. The Coram brothers were electrical engineers with deep knowledge of early radio systems, and they decided to rebuild Tesla's original receiver with absolute precision. They studied Tesla's surviving logbooks and copied every detail. They wound coils using the same wire thickness. They built the grounding system using plates similar to the ones Tesla installed in the rocky Colorado soil. They even adjusted the height and angle of the antenna tower to match Tesla's notes. Some researchers later argued that Tesla's original grounding might have been impossible to replicate perfectly, but the Quorums got close enough to satisfy every engineering requirement of the experiment. After months of preparation, they waited for the right moment. Tesla heard his pattern during a period when the atmosphere was unusually calm. This means there were no nearby thunderstorms, no strong solar activity, no rapid changes in the ionosphere, and no local electrical disturbances that could distort very low-frequency signals. These conditions create a rare window in which distant electromagnetic waves travel cleanly through the air and through the Earth without being scattered or absorbed. The Quorums monitored weather reports, solar activity charts, and ionospheric data until the same type of quiet settled across the region. When the sky and the ground both showed minimal electrical noise, they powered on the reconstructed receiver. They listened for hours. Then the pattern emerged. Sharp beeps, clean spacing, growing intensity. The same sequence Tesla heard in 1899. At first, the discovery seemed to confirm Tesla's fears, but modern science had something Tesla did not. It had the ability to trace signals across the solar system. Researchers already knew that Jupiter has a moon named Io. Io is the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system. Its surface is filled with erupting lava fountains, sulfur clouds, and violent geological activity. These eruptions release enormous amounts of charged particles into space. Jupiter has a huge magnetic field that surrounds the planet. When Io travels through this magnetic field, the charged particles on Io interact with the field and produce strong bursts of radio waves. These bursts often occur at a frequency near 10 kilohertz. A 10 kilohertz emission is simply a radio signal that oscillates 10,000 times per second. Under the right conditions, this radio signal can escape Jupiter and travel all the way to Earth. The Quorums compared their recordings to known data from Io's emissions and found an almost perfect match. This meant Tesla had not imagined the structure he heard. He had detected an extraterrestrial radio signal more than 60 years before the field of radio astronomy even existed. Yet this explanation did not solve the entire mystery. The Quorums noticed that the timing intervals in their recording seemed unnaturally clean. Io's emissions often fluctuate, but the pulses they captured were almost too stable. Argued that ionospheric effects can sometimes focus distant signals and make them appear more orderly, but the degree of alignment remained strange. The Quorums also heard secondary harmonics that matched Tesla's notes. Modern scientists explained these harmonics as signal beating, but the stability of these harmonics continued to puzzle radio engineers. There was a deeper problem that the Io explanation could not answer. When Tesla recorded his signal, he noted that the strength of each pulse dropped sharply before the next pulse began. Think of it like a heartbeat that suddenly weakens between beats before returning to full strength. That sharp dip between pulses is not something Io's signal does. Io's emissions rise and fall gradually. They do not produce sudden clean drops at regular intervals. This means the pattern Tesla recorded had a behavior that Io simply cannot produce on its own. Some skeptics argue that Tesla's coils may have overloaded during the experiment, or that his grounding connection shifted, and that either problem could have caused the dips artificially. But both of those explanations would have introduced messy, irregular distortion across the entire signal. What Tesla recorded was not messy or irregular. The drops appeared at the same point every time, clean and consistent. That kind of consistency does not come from a malfunctioning machine. It comes from a source. That unanswered drop in Tesla's signal remained unexplained for more than a century. No instrument since then had produced anything like it. That changed when Willow was examined after the Echo incident. Instead of clarifying the mystery, Willow exposed something far worse, because its behavior was not just unusual. It was impossible. The 5-minute miracle. When the team examined Willow's logs after the Echo incident, they discovered something even harder to explain. The chip had completed a mathematical task in under 5 minutes that should have taken the fastest classical supercomputer longer than the age of the universe. To understand how extreme this is, imagine trying to count every grain of sand on Earth. Now imagine doing that for every planet in the solar system. Then imagine repeating that process billions of times. Even then, you would still not reach 10 septillion years. Yet Willow reached the final answer in minutes. The task Willow solved involved what scientists call a quantum many-body simulation. This means the chip had to track how many different states a group of particles could enter as they interacted. These particles are the tiny building blocks of matter and energy inside quantum systems. They are not particles like dust or sand. They are the smallest possible units inside atoms, such as electrons or qubits acting like artificial particles. Each one can exist in many different configurations, and every configuration affects the others. The number of possible states does not grow in a straight line. It explodes. Each new particle multiplies the complexity. Classical computers cannot follow this explosion. They run out of memory and time almost immediately. Some researchers argued that this benchmark might exaggerate how hard the task is for classical machines, but even the most generous estimates place the classical runtime beyond anything physically possible. What made Willow's result frightening was how clean the answer was. There were no missing steps. The system behaved as if it had access to a pool of resources far larger than the chip itself. So how did Willow pull this off? Imagine each qubit exploring many possibilities at the same time rather than choosing only one. As the qubits interacted, the chip allowed these possibilities to overlap and interfere. This interference helped the system narrow down all the possible outcomes until only the correct solution remained. In simple terms, it acted like a small machine that somehow reached into a much bigger machine that does not exist in our world. No known algorithm can shrink that kind of calculation into minutes. No known physical law allows a closed system to produce that speed. Something was helping it, and no one knew what that something was. A Google representative from the quantum division gave an interview shortly after the result. He said Willow's behavior supported the idea of non-local computation routes. This means the chip might have solved the problem by exploring many different paths at once, rather than following one path at a time. He went further and suggested that Willow might be drawing on parallel versions of itself that exist in other possible realities. Critics immediately responded. They stated that he was confusing mathematical metaphors with actual physics. Some argued that said claims of parallel universe assistance were irresponsible. Others inside Google quietly admitted that he might have spoken with enthusiasm, not certainty. However, the technical logs revealed something that made the debate more complicated. As Willow worked through the problem, tiny deviations appeared in the intermediate steps. These deviations did not match any known pattern of random behavior in either classical or quantum systems. The waveform of the echo recorded earlier resembled a convergent signature, which is a pattern that appears when many pathways collapse into a single answer. Some scientists explain these deviations as signs of the system reaching the edge of coherence. Others admitted they had never seen anything like this before. The most unsettling takeaway was simple. Willow achieved a result that should have been unreachable within our universe's lifetime, and the method it used showed structural similarities to Tesla's long-forgotten experiment. Yet the true shock comes when we compare all these echoes from Tesla, the Coram brothers, and Google, and discover they share a hidden mathematical structure: black holes, hidden channels, and the information that never disappears. When Google released Willow's technical summary, one line drew immediate attention from physicists. The company stated that the same mathematical tools used to study Willow's quantum echoes could also be used to simulate how information behaves near a black hole. This surprised many researchers because black holes are some of the most mysterious objects in the universe. They swallow everything, including light. Yet the deeper problem is not what they swallow. It is what seems to vanish once it falls in. Black holes present a major paradox. When something crosses their boundary known as the event horizon, it appears to disappear forever. But quantum theory says information cannot be destroyed. The shape, behavior, and history of everything that falls into a black hole must continue to exist in some form. If information can vanish, then the laws of physics break. To resolve this, scientists created many competing theories. Some propose that the information is stored on the surface of the horizon. Others claimed it escapes through a faint glow called Hawking radiation. There are also ideas involving wormhole-like connections or holographic layers that stretch reality into lower dimensions. Many astrophysicists warn that these models are mathematical tools, not confirmed physical truths. They all point toward the same idea. Information does not vanish. It moves. This is where Willow enters the picture. When the team analyzed its echo patterns, they noticed something strange. The reverse evolution algorithm they used to rewind the system produced the same scrambling behavior seen in black hole simulations. Scrambling is what happens when information becomes so mixed that it can no longer be traced to its original form. Black holes scramble information almost instantly. Willow's echoes show the same scrambling signature. Some theorists caution that this similarity does not prove the chip is accessing anything exotic. Simulations often mimic deep physics without recreating. Still, the resemblance was strong enough to raise serious questions. Tesla's old notes added another layer. He described it deep ringing round, a vibration he believed came from the Earth itself. A fringe group of physicists has proposed that very low frequency waves can sometimes interact weakly with gravitational disturbances. Most scientists reject this idea because there is no conclusive evidence, but Tesla's description gained new attention after Willow's anomaly. If both systems displayed signs of scrambled information returning from outside the expected channels,
I still can't believe The Rock turned his back on the WWE Universe, even called them ignorant. Whoa. They turned their backs first. The WWE Universe didn't properly appreciate the People's Champ. Now he's with his family, who does appreciate him. The WWE Universe rejected The Rock, so he turned the tables on them. The Rock is always innovating. You don't have the career The Rock has had by standing still. Rock saw how the wind was blowing and looked out for number one.
The boogeyman. Coming to get you.
He's here. Man, as they come. Well, consider me creeped out. I don't like this guy at all.
From the bottomless pits, weighing in at 260 pounds, the Boogeyman!
Hey, Byron, are those worms coming out of your suit pocket? Whoa, wait, no, tell me you're joking, Cole, why didn't you think of that earlier? He ran away, and now it's time for the Boogeyman! He's coming to get you. Make no mistake about it, we are looking at a master of mind games. Boogeyman has wormed his way into people's psyches permanently. I see what you did there, Corey, because the Boogeyman eats worms. Here we go with this gauntlet eliminator match. Here it comes. Picture perfect from The Rock. There's two. He stays alive. I'm afraid to know what voodoo is fueling the Boogeyman to keep soldiering on. It's time! It's time for the most electrifying move in all sports entertainment! People's elbow! The Boogeyman's sleeping with the worms now! 2 count. Batista looks ready as hell for the gauntlet. And the Boogeyman won't be running the gauntlet any longer after that. There are still so many competitors left. It's hard to even focus on just one elimination here. Yes, we got better. The Rock got all of it. 2. What in the world? Amazing resiliency from Batista to kick out there. But you gotta wonder if that was his last breath.
The Rock is already unloaded with everything he's got, and it wasn't able to end this. You've got to wonder what else he needs to do.
Batista finds the advantage. And now we've got Balor heading for the gauntlet now.
Ooh, merciless looking blow.
Getting him right into the corner.
Batista on a chop. What's the animal going to do now?
Batista all the way from the top. Batista bomb. Turn the lights out.
2. No way. No way.
What? Guys, I really thought The Rock was about to be beat.
Batista now must be having withdrawals in his mind. Unsure where to go from here, as that move usually puts most men away.
Team 16 from Balor. That can finish Batista off the cover. 2 count. If that was not going to keep Batista down, I don't know what will.
This means Finn has to adjust. Finn needs to reconstruct his game plan. There's a kick out. Lights out. Balor just turned the lights out. Is it? The cover. 2. I guess the shoulder up before 3.
One more can be said. I don't even think Finn knows how he kicked out there.
And Alistair perhaps now is losing some of that signature composure. Frustration building for this.
Coming to enter this gauntlet match. Looking to turn it. Cannot keep Finn down.
There's 2. Just barely making it out. Balor's arm shot like a rocket after that 2 count. It isn't over yet. The Rock has to find a way to persevere and wants to end this.
finna get gangbanged by these other ships.
I think that if you truly want to stop the violence,